كل ذلك كان سيئه عند ربك مكروها.
The wickedness of each of that is hateful to your Lord.
44. That is, Allah disapproves of the commission of anything that has been prohibited. In other words, He disapproves of disobedience to any of these commandments.
ذلك مما أوحى إليك ربك من الحكمة ولا تجعل مع الله إلها آخر فتلقى في جهنم ملوما مدحورا.
That is the part of the wisdom your Lord has revealed to you. So do not set up any deity beside Allah, lest you are cast into hell, rebuked and deprived of every good.
45. Though this has been addressed to the Prophet, peace be upon him, the real addressee is every human being, as in the case of many such verses.
أفأصفاكم ربكم بالبنين واتخذ من الملائكة إناثا إنكم لتقولون قولا عظيما.
What? Has your Lord favored you with sons and has taken for himself daughters from among the angels? You are indeed uttering a monstrous lie.
Please refer to ayats 57 to 59 and their ends.
وَلَقَدْ صَرَّفْنَا فِي هَذَا الْقُرْآنِ لِيَذَّكَّرُوا وَمَا يَزِيدُهُمْ إِلَّا نُفُورًا.
We have expounded the truth in diverse ways in this Quran, that they might take it to heart. But all this only aggravates their aversion.
قُلْ لَوْ كَانَ مَعَهُ آلِهَةٌ كَمَا يَقُولُونَ إِذًا لَابْتَغَوْا إِلَى ذِي الْعَرْشِ سَبِيلًا.
Say, O Muhammad, peace be upon him, had there been other gods with him, as they claim, they would surely have attempted to find a way to the Lord of the throne.
47. That is, they would have themselves tried their best to become masters of the throne. This is because if there had been more than one partners in Godhead, it would produce one of the two results. 1. If they were all independent gods, it was not conceivable that they would agree and cooperate with one another in the management of the boundless universe, and there could never have been unanimity, uniformity and balanced proportion in its functioning. There would have been conflict at every step and everyone would have tried to dominate others in order to become its sole master. Or, 2. If one of them had been the supreme God and the others his obedient servants whom he had delegated some of his powers, then, according to the maxim, power corrupts, they would never have been content with remaining obedient servants of the supreme God and would have conspired to become the supreme God themselves. Whereas the fact is that in this universe not even a grain of wheat or a blade of grass can grow unless and until everything in the earth and the heavens cooperate with one another for its production. Therefore, only an utterly ignorant and block-headed person can conceive that there are more than one independent or semi-independent rulers, who carry on the management of this universe. Anyone who has tried to understand the nature and functioning of the universe will most surely arrive at the conclusion that there is one and only one sovereign ruling over this universe, and there is absolutely no likelihood of anyone else to be a partner in this at any stage.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala amma yaqulun 'uluwan kabira.
Holy is He, and far above all that they say.
تسبح له السماوات السبع والأرض ومن فيهن وإن من شيء إلا يسبح بحمده ولكن لا تفقهون تسبيحهم إنه كان حليما غفورا.
The seven heavens, The earth and all that is within them give glory to Him. There is nothing but gives glory to Him with His praise, though you do not understand their hymns of praise. He is most forbearing, exceedingly forgiving.
48. That is, the entire universe and everything in it bear witness to the fact that their Creator and Guardian is free from each and every fault, defect and weakness, and that He is far above this that there should be any partner or associate in His Godhead. 49. Everything is not only singing hymns of the glory of its Creator but is affording the proof that He is perfect in every respect and worthy of all praise. Everything is an embodiment of the proof that its Creator and Administrator is the one in whom there is perfection of every quality. Therefore, He alone is worthy of praise. 50. That is, it is due to His forbearance and forgiveness that though you are persistently insolent to Him and go on inventing one false thing or the other against Him, He forbears and forgives you. He neither withholds provisions from you nor deprives you of His favors nor strikes an insolent person instantly dead with a thunderbolt. Above all, He is so forbearing and forgiving that He gives long enough respite to the individuals and communities to mend their ways, sends His prophets and reformers for their admonition and guidance and forgives all the past mistakes and errors, if one sincerely repents and adopts the right way.
وَإِذَا قَرَأْتَ الْقُرْآنَ جَعَلْنَا بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَ الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْآخِرَةِ حِجَابًا مَسْتُورًا.
When you recite the Quran, we place a hidden barrier between you and those who do not believe in the hereafter.
وَجَعَلْنَا عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ أَكِنَّةً أَن يَفْقَهُوهُ وَفِي آذَانِهِمْ وَقْرًا وَإِذَا ذَكَرْتَ رَبَّكَ فِي الْقُرْآنِ وَحْدَهُ وَلَّوْا عَلَى أَدْبَارِهِمْ نُفُورًا.
And we place a covering on their hearts so that they do not comprehend it. And we cause a heaviness in their ears, and when you mention your Lord, the only true Lord, in the Quran, they turn their backs in aversion.
51. This refers to the divine law according to which those people, who do not believe in the hereafter, cannot benefit from the Quran. Allah has attributed this law to Himself, as if to say, the natural result of disbelief in the hereafter is that the heart of such a man becomes dull and his ears become deaf to the message of the Quran, for Quran bases its invitation on the belief in the hereafter. So it warns the people that they should not be deluded by this apparent aspect of the worldly life if there appears to be none to call them to account here, for it does not mean they are not at all accountable and answerable to anyone. Likewise, if Allah allows freedom of belief to practice shirk, atheism, disbelief or tawheed with impunity in this world, and their practice does not appear to make any practical difference in this world, it does not mean that these things do not produce any results at all. For, in fact, everyone shall be accountable and answerable after death in the next world. Then everyone will realize that the doctrine of tawheed alone is true and all other doctrines are false. For, if at present the consequences of deeds do not appear after death, they shall inevitably appear, but the reality has now been hidden behind an invisible curtain. There is an inevitable moral law according to which submission to it will bear its fruit and disobedience shall incur its losses. As decisions according to this moral law will be made in the hereafter. You should not be enticed by the charms of this transitory life. You should, therefore, keep in view that ultimately you shall have to render an account of all your deeds in this world before your Lord, and adopt the true creed and moral attitude which may be conducive to your success in the hereafter. From this it must have become obvious that if a man does not believe in the hereafter, he will never consider the message of the Quran worth his while but will hanker after this world and its joys which he can feel and experience. Naturally his ears will not listen to the message and it will never reach the depths of his heart. Allah has stated this psychological fact in this verse. In this connection, it should be remembered that the words contained in this verse were uttered by the disbelievers of Makkah as quoted in Ayat 5 of Surah Hameen Sajda. They say, O Muhammad, a covering has fallen over our hearts, and our ears are deaf for the message you give and there is a curtain between you and us. You may go on with your work and we will do whatever we desire. Here the same words have been cited, as if to say, you consider this state of yours to be a virtue, whereas this is a curse which has fallen on you according to the divine law because of your disbelief of the hereafter. 52. That is, they do not like it at all that you should consider Allah alone as your Lord and not mention the lords they have set up. They seem to think it strange that one should go on praising Allah and never mention the miracles of their elders and saints nor praise them for their favors. For, according to them, Allah has delegated the powers of His Godhead to their great ones. Therefore, they say, what a strange fellow he is. He believes that the knowledge of the unknown, and all the power and authority belong to one Allah alone. Why does he not pay tribute to those who give us children, cure us of diseases, and help make our commerce flourish, in short, fulfill all our wishes and desires?
It was
نحن أعلم بما يستمعون به إذ يستمعون إليك وإذ هم نجوى إذ يقول الظالمون إن تتبعون إلا رجلا مسحورا.
We are well aware of what they wish to hear when they listen to you, and what they say when they confer in whispers, when the wrongdoers say, you are only following one who is bewitched. You are
53. This refers to those devices which they conspired against the message of the Prophet, peace be upon him. They would secretly listen to him, and then hold consultations in order to counteract this. Sometimes it so happened that they suspected that someone had been influenced by the Quran. Then they would sit together and try to dissuade him, saying, how is it that you have been influenced by a person who himself is bewitched by some enemy and talks like this?
انظر كيف ضربوا لك الأمثال فضلوا فلا يستطيعون سبيلا.
Just see how strange are the things they invent about you. They have altogether strayed, and are unable to find the right way.
54. This is to say that they expressed different opinions at different times which contradicted each other. Sometimes they said, you are a sorcerer. And at other times, you have been bewitched by someone, or you are a poet, or you are possessed of some evil spirit. These contradictory things were proof that they did not know the reality. Otherwise, they would not have invented a different name to suit each occasion. This also shows that they themselves were not sure of the charge they leveled against him. If they called him by one epithet one day, they themselves felt afterwards that it did not fit in. Then they would invent the second epithet and then the third and so on. Thus every new epithet contradicted the previous ones and showed that there was no truth in them, but in their enmity they were inventing one falsehood after the other.
وَقَالُوا أَإِذَا كُنَّا عِظَامًا وَرُفَاتًا أَإِنَّا لَمَبْعُوثُونَ خَلْقًا جَدِيدًا.
They say, when we are turned to bones and particles of dust, shall we truly be raised up as a new creation?
قُلْ كُونُوا حِجَارَةً أَوْ حَدِيدًا.
Tell them, you'll be raised afresh even if you turn to stone or iron.
أَوْ خَلْقًا مِّمَّا يَكْبُرُ فِي صُدُورِكُمْ فَسَيَقُولُونَ مَن يُعِيدُنَا قُلِ الَّذِي فَطَرَكُمْ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ فسينغضون إليك رؤوسهم ويقولون متاه قل عسى أن يكون قريبا.
Or any other form of creation you deem hardest of all to recreate from. They will certainly ask, who will bring us back to life? Say, He who created you in the first instance. They will shake their heads at you and inquire, when will that be? Say, perhaps that time might have drawn near.
55. They will shake their heads at you, in astonishment or to express doubt or disapproval or to scoff at you.
They will shake their heads at you and inquire, The gesture referred to here consists of shaking one's head up and down, something one resorts to either to express amazement or derision.
يوم يدعوكم فتستجيبون بحمده وتظنون إن لبثتم إلا قليلا.
On the day when He will call you, and you will rise praising Him in response to His call, and you will believe that you had lain in this state only for a while. And you will believe that you had lain in this state only for a while.
56. That is, you will feel as if the intervening period between death and coming again to life on the day of resurrection was only a few hours or so, for you will think that you had just woken up after a short sleep by the sudden noise produced on the day. As regards to you will rise up praising Him, it is a subtle hint towards a great reality. At the time of rising up from death, both the believer and the unbeliever will be uttering the praise of Allah. The believer will do so because in the worldly life also he believed in this creed and practiced it. As regards the unbeliever, he will have the urge to do so because of the inherent and ingrained tendency in him which he had been suppressing by his folly. In the new life, all those deliberate suppressions will vanish away and he will involuntarily utter the praise of Allah.
وَقُلْ لِعِبَادِي يَقُولُوا الَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ يَنزَغُ بَيْنَهُمْ إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ كَانَ لِلْإِنسَانِ عَدُوًّا مُبِينًا.
Tell my servants, O Muhammad, peace be upon him, to say always that which is best. Verily, it is Satan who sows discord among people. Satan indeed is an open enemy to mankind.
57. The believers. 58. The believers have been enjoined to say only the best things even in their discussion with the disbelievers and other opponents of their faith. They should neither use harsh words nor make exaggerated statements. They should be cool in their conversation and say only what is true and dignified in spite of the provoking behavior of the opponents. 59. The believers have been forewarned to guard against the provocations of Satan, as if to say, while answering your opponents, if you feel that you are being aroused to anger, you should at once understand that it is Satan who is exciting you in order to do harm to your dispute, in which he wants to engage human beings for sowing discord between them.
رَبُّكُمْ أَعْلَمُ بِكُمْ إِن يَشَأْ يَرْحَمْكُمْ أَوْ إِن يَشَأْ يُعَذِّبْكُمْ وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ عَلَيْهِمْ وَكِيلًا.
Your Lord knows you best. He will have mercy on you if He wills, and chastise you if He wills. We have not sent you, O Muhammad, peace be upon him, as an overseer over them.
60. This is to warn the believers to refrain from making claims of piety so as to assign paradise to themselves and hell to their opponents. It is Allah alone who has the power to decide these things because He is fully aware of the known and secret and the present and future things about all human beings. It is He who will decide whether to show mercy to anyone or give chastisement. However, a man may say in the light of the divine book that a certain kind of human beings deserve mercy and another kind of people incur chastisement, but none has any right to say specifically that a particular man will be given chastisement and another will get salvation. 61. This is to declare that a prophet is sent to convey the message and not to decide whether a person will receive mercy or get chastisement. It does not, however, mean that, God forbid, the prophet, peace be upon him, himself did such a thing and Allah had to warn him. In fact, this is to warn the Muslims that when the Prophet himself is not in a position as to decide the fates of the people, they should never think of such a thing as to assign paradise and hell to anyone.
وَرَبُّكَ أَعْلَمُ بِمَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَلَقَدْ فَضَّلْنَا بَعْضَ النَّبِيِّينَ عَلَى بَعْضٍ وَآتَيْنَا دَاوُودَ زَبُورًا.
Your Lord knows all who dwell in the heavens and the earth. We have exalted some prophets over others, and we gave the Psalms to David.
62. Though this has apparently been addressed to the Prophet, peace be upon him, in fact the real addressees are the disbelievers of Mecca. This is to rebuke them for the low opinion they held in regard to the Prophet, peace be upon him. As it commonly happens, contemporaries in general and opponents in particular do not see anything great and noble in a person of their own time. The same was the case with the contemporaries of the Prophet, peace be upon him, who could not see anything extraordinary or great in him. He appeared to be merely a common man of their habitation. On the other hand, they were full of praise in regard to the famous personalities who had lived in the past few centuries and imagined them to be the perfection of greatness. That is why, they raised frivolous objections against his claim to prophethood as if to say, look at this man who considers himself to be a prophet whereas he cannot stand in comparison with the former great prophets who are held in high esteem by all. Allah has answered their objection, as if to say we are fully aware of all our creatures in the heavens and the earth, and we know their ranks but you do not know, we know whom to favor with prophethood, as we have been favoring the former prophets and exalting some prophets above others in rank. 63. It appears that Prophet David, peace be upon him, has been particularly mentioned to show that prophethood does not mean that one should have nothing to do with the life of this world. This was the answer to the objection they were raising against the claim to prophethood by Muhammad, peace be upon him, that he was a man of the world. It means to say, though David was a king who had to engage himself in worldly affairs more than a common man, he was favored by Allah with prophethood, and given the book, the Psalms. Likewise Muhammad, peace be upon him, could be favored with prophethood in spite of the fact that he had wives and children and passed his life like other common people and was engaged in buying and selling in the market. In short, in performing all those duties that a man of the world has to perform to meet his necessities of life. This was necessitated because according to the disbelievers of Mecca such a man of the world could not be considered to be even a pious man, much less a prophet. For pious people should have nothing to do with the worldly affairs but should sit in seclusion and remember God, whereas the Prophet, peace be upon him, had to work to fulfill the necessities of life.